So hi and welcome to Igniting Success and our new vlog. Today I have a guest with me. Her name is Teresa London and I'll talk a bit about her in just a moment. Our theme for this month at Igniting Success is practice. And when I looked up the definition of practice, it said actual application or use of an idea, belief, or method as opposed to theories relating to it. It's a repeated exercise in or performance of an activity or skill so as to acquire or maintain proficiency. And so when I started thinking about the intention for this month in my business and with my clients, I thought it would be great to bring in my dear friend and LCSW, which stands for Licensed Clinical Social Worker, Teresa London. She is one of my dearest and closest friends. We are literally neighbors right next door to each other, and we are horsewomen together. So ever since the start of all this worldwide social distancing, Terry and I have been sisters working together with our horses and supporting each other in our own professional businesses. So Terry is certified in brain synchronization therapy, AcuDetox, equine assistance, psychotherapy, and learning, and she and I have actually done several retreats and different types of interactions with horses and coaching people and so on. She's currently working on being certified in emotional freedom technique, which is known as EFT. Some of you may be familiar with this type of therapy. She has so many other certifications and things going on, too many to list. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Terry. Tell us about your clinical practice.
Well, in my practice, which is Colorado Healing Place, I have actually been using some form of tapping for quite a few years now, and just recently discovered specifically the emotional freedom technique, not only for really anybody who has an issue that's going on that's really disturbing to them, but I also use it to treat trauma clients. And so let's
define EFT. What is it?
Well, essentially, EFT is a Meridian-based treatment. And so what that means is that it's based in Chinese theory. It's thousands and thousands of years old. It's been used for a long time. If any of you have ever had any acupuncture done or have had acupressure type things done, you're going to be familiar with some of the points. And so essentially what we're going to be doing is going through some points. And the goal of this therapy or this treatment is essentially to create a calmer body while pairing it with something that's really bothering you. So that when we're all said and done, the idea is that you want to have a different perspective. We want to have you kind of feel or look differently at what was bothering you before than you did prior to the treatment.
Well, that makes total sense. And right now, boy, in our crazy world, there's a lot of stress, anxiety, and uncertainty about what the future holds, with this new virus and so on. So
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the technique you're going to use today. And if I think it's tapping, right?
Right, it involves tapping. And again, we're going to be using a specific statement that each individual would create for themselves, because what I love about this EFT is that this is really designed, while it's used professionally in treatment settings, people can use it for themselves. It's really meant for that. You can take it, you can take this and use it to calm yourself down.
Anytime.
Anytime.
Anytime something shows up.
Anytime something shows up.
Well, that's good for right now, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah. So essentially,
So give us an overview, Terry, of
Okay.
what this is going to look like today.
okay.
And I'm your guinea pig.
Okay, you're going to be my guinea pig. All right, so the overview is essentially that you are going to come up with something, first of all, that's really bothering you right now.
Okay.
And then we're going to create, you actually are going to create a statement about that, like literally like a one sentence at the most.
Got it.
All right, and then we're going to have you on what we call a sub scale, or a scale of 0 to 10. How much does it bother you? Is it a 10? Is it an 8? And then
0 meaning not at all, 10 meaning off the charts.
off the charts.
Got it.
Exactly, good. And then what we're going to do is we are going to tap a sequence of points
Okay.
while you are bringing that up in your head.
Well, I'm bringing that thought,
You're-
that
you're-
disturbing.
You're really getting in touch with it.
Okay.
You're going to get in touch or in tune with it, and you're going to say, we're going to start out by saying this statement, and then tap through the points. And one other thing is that we will come up with your statement first, and then we'll do what we call a reminder phrase, which is a shortened version of the original statement.
Got it. Okay.
Okay? And then I'll just have you follow me. I'm gonna use your statement, and we'll go through it.
And how many times do we go through the tapping?
We're actually going to do a sequence of 3 complete sequences. So we're going to do the sequence 3 times. Okay?
Okay, so, and then we check in with the scale again to see if the number
Hasn't come down.
has come down.
Yeah,
Okay,
our
got it.
goal is we want that to come down to ideally a 0 and not more than 2.
So give us an overview of the tapping technique. What is it exactly, and what are the points?
Okay, so we're going to go over we talked about we're going to go through this 3 times, and you're going to have that statement. And then I'm going to go ahead now and I'll explain which points we're going to use in this case.
Okay.
And I wanted to let everybody know too that don't worry, if you decide to practice this at home, don't worry about if you miss a point. It's still going to be effective. Sometimes I do that myself, and then I catch myself, and you can either go back and tap it at the end of the sequence, or you can just leave it out.
Skip it and go on to the
And
next.
do it the next time, so no big
Okay,
deal.
so what does this tapping technique look like?
Okay, so I'm going to just show everybody the points, and while it's not super critical that you be exactly on the point, much like acupuncture, you have to be in an area. However, it's still a good idea to be fairly accurate if you can. So
Okay.
beginning with, we're going to call this, I refer to it as the karate chop. So there's an area, if you bend your hand like this, there's usually a little crease and it's kind of a fleshy area.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the point you want to tap on. So it's sometimes referred to the karate chop like this. Some people like putting the 2 points together. It's another way. Okay, so that's the first point.
Okay.
Then we're going to tap the top of the head. And really where you're going to be at is not in the middle, but just slightly back. So kind of before the middle, or in between the middle and the crown. Okay, that's going to be a tapping point there. And then we're going to come to inside of the eyebrow. So really where the beginning of the eyebrow starts.
Okay.
Okay. Next will be outside of the eye, which is really where the eye crease, kind of where you get those
Right on the
feet if
bone.
you're older, on the bone.
Okay.
Correct. And then the next point is under the eye, directly about right in the middle of your eye and on that bony orbit there.
Got it.
Okay. Next will be under the nose. And then under the lip. The next point will be what we refer to as the collarbone point, and you're going to be look at your sternum here. You're going to just, whichever side you're tapping on, and it doesn't matter, by the way, I wanted to mention that. It doesn't matter which side of the body, if the point is on one side or not. So the sternum, and just go to just slightly off center, but below your collarbone.
Got it.
Okay, in that point right there.
And does it matter what fingers you tap with? Should you use an index finger, or can you just use all your fingers?
You can use all your fingers, it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Okay, and then you're going to do over here under the arm, and for men, or however you want to refer to it, you can go either it's 4 inches below the armpit or at the bra line.
Got it.
Okay, for women sometimes that's the point, and you can tap fairly firmly on that.
Oh, and these
that
others
particular
gently.
area. Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
All right, the next is going to be right in between, this is called the gamut, so in between your pinky finger and your ring finger. And then you're going to go just behind, so past the knuckles.
Yep.
You'll find a little indentation there,
Yep.
and you're going to tap right there.
Got it.
Okay? All right, and then the next spot and the last spot in the sequence is going to be the heart hold, which really going to be here. And feel free to tap that if you want while you're doing it. And that's the sequence.
So what about our breathing while we're doing this?
You don't necessarily have to focus on your breathing.
Okay.
Just breathe.
Just
right?
breathe
And then
normally.
at the end of each sequence, I always think it's a nice idea for you to take one deep breath, but we're going to get right back to the sequence again.
Okay,
Okay?
I got it.
So that's how that's going to roll. All right?
All right.
Okay.
So we're going to start with my question or my statement.
We're going to start with your statement. So first of all, what is something right now with our situation, and we know that there's lots of things going on in people's heads, but for you specifically, what is something that's really bothering you right now?
Well, being self-employed, having my own business, and having a lot of business canceled because, as you know, a lot of things that I do is conferences and traveling, and all of that is shut down. So I've had quite a few cancellations. Luckily, I still have my online academies and coaching, so I'm doing that. However, a good portion of my income came from conferences and going out and traveling to clients. So, like probably many of you who are watching this, my concern is paying bills over the next 30, 60, 90 days.
Okay, so you're worried
It's
about
financial.
the financial,
Yeah.
but it's specifically paying the bills that's bothering you the most.
I would say, yeah, that's the specific piece. You know, it's the overall financial, but yeah, paying bills is specific.
Okay, and just for everybody out there, it is important with this particular technique that you get very, very specific. So while Marguerite was saying initially it's the whole idea of the finances, we want to narrow that down to what is it about the finances that bothers you the most.
Right, so I said losing income, and then you drilled it down farther, and then we got to paying bills.
Yeah,
That
specifically
makes
paying
sense.
bills. So that's what we're going to work on. So her statement, what would you like your statement to be specifically that we're going to use in this tapping?
I'm worried about paying bills.
Okay,
Does that work?
right, I'm worried about paying bills. Okay, all right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this.
Okay,
Are you
let's do
ready?
it. I'm ready.
Okay. Okay, so just follow after me. Okay, but first of all, oh, we forgot this part. So, how much does that bother you on that scale of 0 to 10 right now?
It's an 8.
It's an 8.
It's a
Okay.
solid 8.
It's a solid 8. All right, so here we go. All right, repeat after me. I'm okay, even though I'm worried about paying bills.
I'm okay, even though I'm worried about paying bills.
About paying bills.
About paying bills.
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 So worried about paying bills.
So worried about paying bills.
Paying bills.
Paying bills.
Paying bills.
Paying bills.
See, I forgot a spot. Paying bills.
Paying bills.
Paying bills.
Paying bills.
Paying bills.
Paying bills.
Okay. All right. We're going to start again. Ready? I'm okay, even though I'm worried about paying bills.
I'm okay, even though I'm worried about paying bills.
Really worried about paying bills.
Really worried about paying bills.
So worried about paying bills.
So worried about paying bills.
So worried.
So worried.
So worried
So worried
about paying bills.
about paying bills.
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 Okay.
Round 3.
I'm okay, even though I'm worried about paying bills.
I'm okay, even though I'm worried about paying bills.
Paying those bills.
Paying those bills.
So worried.
So worried.
So worried.
So worried.
So worried about paying those bills.
So worried about paying those bills.
So worried.
Worried. So worried.
But I'm okay,
But I'm okay,
even though I'm worried
even though I'm worried
about paying those bills.
about paying those bills.
About paying those bills.
About paying those bills.
Paying those bills.
Paying those bills.
Okay, Marguerite. So what I want you to do is get in tune and in touch with that statement. I'm worried about paying bills. And tell me right now, in this second, how much does that bother you on a scale of 0 to 10?
Wow, it dropped down to a 2.
To a 2. This is not uncommon, because this stuff works. Okay?
So the other thing I'm noticing, Terry, is my whole body is vibrating. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like there's energy. I don't know how else to describe it. We did a little practice session before this, and I didn't experience that. But now, where I was totally focusing on that and going through it, I am feeling something very different in my body. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's not uncommon sometimes when you're going through this or after to have an experience like you're having right now. Sometimes there's yawning, sometimes there's any number of different types of releases that happen. Because now what we're doing is clearing some of those blockages and getting that chi to be able to move through. And if any of you understand the whole Chinese medicine and theory, that's what it's all about, is that we feel better, we can heal ourselves, we can move through difficult times when our energy isn't blocked and when it's able to move forward freely. So this is part of what we're doing.
Oh, I love that. That is great. So what if this concern comes back? Because we don't know how long this is going to last. Right now we're on 30 days of shutdown in our state in Colorado. So what if that thought comes back?
So in other words, I'm just checking in with you to make sure I understand what you're saying. So what you're asking me is what happens if this particular thing comes back?
Yeah.
Right.
If I start worrying
about paying bills again. Okay. I'm doubting that specific concern is going to come up again. And here's why. Because this stuff really works. Typically, which is why we narrow it down to something very, very specific and not a really big overarching issue, is because we're working on that specific thing. So that specific concern shouldn't come up again. However, related things certainly can. And if that happens, you tap those down just like we did this. But it's really important, again, to come up with your setup phrase or your statement. What is it you're worried about specifically? Break it down.
Now, what if my number hadn't come down to a 2? Would we just have continued going through and done another sequencing of 3?
Well, you could have. At the same time, we do what's called an energy correction.
Okay.
Okay? It's very simple. An energy correction is simply this. You would cross your ankles, interweave your hands, and you've got points here on your forearms, so you would interweave those, rest them on your side, and you might even want to kick back a little. And it doesn't matter, you can talk, you can close your eyes, it doesn't matter what you do while you're doing this. And what's really interesting about this is something that people do kind of
unconsciously.
Yes, you will will find much of tapping, you will see yourselves do it organically when there's an issue and you start touching yourself places, or what you do when you're worried about something, you touch your heart chakra. So a lot of this stuff is, it's out there.
Almost innate, unconscious behavior.
Yes. So you're going to do this for at least 1 minute. And
Okay.
essentially, again, just to explain really briefly what that is that in Chinese medicine, the energy flows in one direction. When everything's going well, it flows and it's not blocked. When we have something that disturbs that, whether it's, what we call a big trauma or a little trauma, whatever's happening, events in our lives, it can disturb that energy and essentially block it, and then it can come up in many different ways, all kinds of ways, pain, anxiety, whatever.
What a great tool to use anytime.
Exactly. So we want to
Even at
reverse.
work. So to go through tapping, unless you went into your office and, were by yourself and turned on a video and took yourself through it, just doing something like this can calm our central nervous system down.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful
Love
thing.
that.
It's a great thing to have. So you're going to do that for a minute or more, depending on what you want to do. And then go ahead and you would go right back to the beginning like we did. Come up with your statement and tap it down.
Awesome.
Okay? And that's
So what are your closing thoughts on this, Terry?
well, I would say essentially probably one of the best things you can do to get through any kind of stressful time is pay attention to where your thoughts are going. What are you thinking about? Okay, because your body and mind are so connected, of course. I know many of you know this. Whatever you're thinking about, your body's going to have a response to that. So
It's that mind-body connection that is being talked about everywhere, in every
Absolutely.
genre, personally and
it's
professionally.
inescapable. It's absolutely true. Your mind is within your body. They're, connected. So pay attention to those thoughts and just make a conscious choice when you realize that you're thinking, or catastrophizing, or going to the what-ifs, the worst-case scenarios possible.
Which is really easy right now for us to do.
Oh, it's everywhere. Everybody's doing that. I mean, a lot of people are doing that. So notice that, and then make a conscious choice to not join that party, so to speak. You're not going to,
Don't start ruminating on them.
No, because thoughts will gravitate to each other.
And they create energy.
Absolutely, positive or negative energy. So,
which impacts our physical body.
oh, absolutely.
And our mental, emotional,
Yeah, they're connected. So,
all connected.
right. So essentially, just remember one thing. If nothing else, remember where the mind goes, the energy flows. So you have a choice. Once you're paying attention, do you want your thoughts to go and your energy to go to something positive? Or do you want to get on the
hamster wheel.
hamster wheel? Right, okay. All right. Thanks, everybody.
So I want to circle back to where we started today, which was with our intention around practice. And today what we focused on was practicing tapping as a technique to lower anxiety around thoughts that can show up, that can throw us onto that hamster wheel of fear, anxiety, and stress. So I want to connect this back to leadership. As leaders, we all have fears and concerns in normal, everyday circumstances. And today, with what's going on in our immediate environments, our communities, our homes, our businesses, our counties, our states, our world, we can use this technique to find ways to stay grounded and focused, because as a leader, it's going to be really important for each of us to be examples of how to stay grounded and focused. And if we get distracted by those thoughts, fears, and concerns, we won't be as effective. And let's face it, our people, our clients, our family members are looking to us to be the example and to stay grounded. So, keeping practice in mind, use this technique to stay grounded. Now, Terry and I have a few resources that we can talk about. Terry, why don't you share your resources that you thought might be helpful for those who are watching?
Well, one thing is, if this is new to any of you, or to anybody and you're interested in learning more about energy psychology or the tapping in particular, the emotional freedom technique specifically, you can find lots of stuff on YouTube, and also an organization which is well, let's see, it's energypsychology.org.
That is
It's actually
the
a website. And
The
it's
ACEP.
yeah, it's the association. Sorry guys, I cannot remember that right now.
I think you said it was the Association for Comprehensive Energy.
Energy psychology. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's a kind of a long one. But again, energypsych.org, and it's full of information about all the different techniques.
And by the way, we'll have this information written below, so you can check that out as well. We'll have links and all of this spelled out for you. And you also talked about Robin Bilazarian, am I saying her name
Yes,
right?
Bilazarian, yes, and she is also a licensed clinical social worker with all kinds of certifications, but she's been doing EFT specifically for over 20 years. And she speaks on it and has books, and she has quite a few videos on YouTube. So she's a great resource if you want to learn more.
And we also have a few books. For those of you who are readers, because as you know, I'm a voracious reader, we have a few books that are out there, and there's plenty of them, more than just these two. But we have a book by Jack Canfield and Pamela Bruner called Tapping into Ultimate Success. So that's one resource. We also have another author. His name is Nick Ortner. He has actually a few books out. This one happens to be the tapping solution for pain relief. So you can tap if you have any kind of physical pain going on, but he also has another book called The Tapping Solution. So we invite you to check out lots of resources for tapping to learn more about this. And so for now,
well, and tap that down. Tap the anxiety down.
Tap your
Tap the
anxiety
worry
down. We like that.
Yeah.
So with that, cheers, Terry.
Cheers.
Thank you for
friends.
taking the time to prepare for our connection today and our discussion. And I'm so grateful for all of you who are watching this, from my heart to yours. Thank you, and may we continue to practice being grounded and using tapping as a technique.